It's hard to say what's real and what's not. But if somebody came to you and told you the happy life you have been living has been a complete lie, you wouldn't believe him, would you? Especially when he has a good enough reason to lie to you. So when I know all that, why can I not stop thinking about it? Why is it still in my head? I'm just confused. I'm using a throwaway because my fiance Caspian, 30 male, is a pretty big deal in the fitness and lifestyle space. Obviously, I don't want to be recognized. The one thing he has always asked me to be careful about is his public image, because that is his whole thing. Yeah, he has a huge amount of followers, big brand deals, and that whole world. A lot of you might even have seen him somewhere. He is pretty famous. I, Alice, 28, female, on the other hand, work a very normal 9 to 6 admin job. Our lives are completely different, just like our personalities. Neither of us like something, but we love each other. For the last 2 years, we've somehow made it work, or at least I thought we did. But things I learned cannot be true. I may be doubting my fiancé for nothing. The reason I'm writing here is that something about our relationship isn't sitting right, and I don't know if I'm spiraling or finally seeing things for what they are. I never had a problem with him before. I have always been very happy with him. But something happened that has poisoned my brain. Before Caspian, I had a long streak of almost relationships and a couple of heartbreaks I thought I'd never bounce back from. When I met him, it was like everything clicked. He's driven, charismatic, generous, and intense. The kind of man who makes you feel like you're living inside a movie. I'm not really the extrovert type, but I'm not nervous or awkward around people either. I just like staying inside more and hanging out with the people I love. But Caspian can go meet 1,000 new people every day and be friends with them. He can share almost every aspect of his life on the internet without feeling anything about it. I was instantly attracted to him because I could not understand how his brain worked. I would love to think he felt the same about me. At that point, he wasn't that big, but once we started dating, he got bigger and bigger. He'd bring me into his content, with my permission of course, kiss my forehead mid-vide, and call me his rock in live streams. He made me feel adored publicly and privately. I genuinely believed I was the luckiest woman alive, but I also had my fair share of challenges. Living with a content creator is tough. Don't tell him I told you this, but nobody's life is what they show on the internet. It is mostly made up. My fiance has a team of people helping him plan, film, and even fake responses to stuff you wouldn't believe. Mostly everything is pre-planned and scripted. When I first found out about this, I was pretty shocked, but I slowly learned that it is how the business is, and I didn't have enough interest to look into it further. I helped my fiancé whenever he needed something and kept myself at a distance from his online world, but I still loved living with him and the life I had, except I haven't always been the best at trusting people. About a year ago, I made a terrible mistake that still haunts me. I was already having a bad day, and then I saw some messages on his phone. He was in the bathroom, and I read everything they were talking about. The messages seemed a bit flirty, and the woman could not wait to meet him. Now, my fiancé is a very good-looking guy, so obviously my first thought was he was about to cheat. I think you understand how I got there, right? When I asked him where he was going, he told me he had a meeting, which made me more suspicious. So, I followed him and waited to see if he met the woman. He met the woman and they were talking, and he was making her laugh nonstop. So it really pissed me off, and I confronted him then and there. Turns out I was wrong. The messages were between him and a brand manager who was a guy. He was just overly friendly. The woman, a marketing lead. He even showed me the campaign materials. The worst part about this was that he was sharing the live feed of this with his audience. This was sort of an interview where she was explaining how marketing works. So, not only did the restaurant people see what happened, but so did most of his audience. I had embarrassed myself and hurt him badly. He forgave me eventually, but he was pretty hurt. He told me he never expected me to doubt him. I think the only reason he forgave me was because the clip from the live stream went extremely viral. It did help him grow, so I guess he was happy something good came out of it. So, after that, I promised myself and him I'd never let my anxiety sabotage us again, and I've kept that promise until now. 6 months ago, Caspian started making his own product. Let's call it Aura Elixir. A fancy vitamin-packed daily drink. He worked around the clock. He poured everything into it, time, money, and energy. I supported him as best I could, even when we barely saw each other. Then on launch day, he surprised me with what I believed was the best gift of my entire life. He had organized a sort of event for the launch and had invited all his friends, family, and associates. The place looked great, and I knew that the product was great too, as I was one of the beta testers for it. He then launched the product and they made some videos about it. Right after the live product reveal, Caspian invited me to join him. He explained how vital I was to him and everything he had built and got down on one knee. He gave this beautiful, heartfelt speech and asked me if I would marry him. I was crying. Everyone was cheering. He slipped a stunning ring on my finger and it felt like something out of a dream. The best thing about it was that the proposal went viral. Of course it did. Many other influencers got it on video too, and everyone talked about it. It was a win-win. I was happy, and it ended up helping the product too. Aura Elixir sales skyrocketed. Both of us couldn't be happier. I was overwhelmed in the best way. It was honestly the happiest day of my life. But a few days ago, something strange happened. I got a message on Instagram from someone I didn't expect to ever hear from again. David, who used to work for Caspian. It would be fair to say that he was his right-hand man for a long time. David had been with Caspian from the early days. Video editor, manager, fixer, everything. I knew David well too. But a few months ago, Caspian fired David out of nowhere. When I asked, he told me that David was not happy with the direction they were going in and wanted to quit. So, he made his life easier. Anyway, David messaged me and asked to talk. I assumed it was to congratulate us. It wasn't. When I asked what he wanted, he flat out told me he just wanted me to know the truth about my fiancé. He said that the proposal was fake. It was timed and planned purely for the PR boost of the product. That Caspian planned all this himself, and he has only used me. Not only that, a lot of things that happened in my relationship have been pre-planned. He said Caspian had always treated his relationships like branding tools, that every big romantic moment was crafted for views and conversion, that emotional engagement drives consumer engagement. His words, not mine. I felt like throwing up. I obviously could not believe it. I know my fiancé. I know how egocentric people in his space can be. And I'll admit it, he is the sort of person who would do anything to make interesting content, but not this. This is too far and I refuse to believe it. There is no way all this can be true, can it? After David told me all of that, I said that he would not be able to convince me that my fiancé is bad. I told him that our love is real and I can feel it. I asked him not to contact me again. After that, I cut the call and blocked him. But the thing is, everything David told me has stayed with me. Caspian is meticulous with his image. A very big part of our lives is carefully curated. Every post I put up has to be approved first by him. I can't even post our photos before I get the approval. And the proposal with the product launch had to be planned in some sort of way. So, there's a good chance that Caspian felt it would be best for the product too, if he proposed. But that doesn't make it less genuine, does it? I feel like I'm going crazy and I cannot talk to Caspian because I don't want him to think I'm doubting him again. What do you guys think? There is no way anything David said is true, right? Comments. Jose Elastity. If I were you, I would be scared. You should talk to the guy more and see if he has any proof. Don't go to the fiancé. He will lie to you. One thing is for sure, your fiancé did propose so that his product would blow up. Not saying he didn't mean to propose anyway, but he didn't do it on any other day. If I were you, I would be actively looking into it instead of doing whatever you are doing. He might be lying to you. Influencers are crazy people. Don't believe him so easily. OP Update 1. It's been a week since my post and I want to start this by thanking everyone who supported me and left me advice. I truly didn't expect something like this would happen. To everyone who called me paranoid, stupid, or something along those lines, I hope you never have to experience what I am going through. I wish I could tell you that things have gotten better in my mind, instead of that everything has gotten 100 times worse. I wish I had never listened to David or agreed to see him. Yes, I ended up meeting David. Let me tell you what happened. Let me just start by telling you guys that I genuinely love Caspian. I loves him so much it hurts. And the thought that he could ever be anything other than the man I've grown to love feels impossible. He's the man who holds my hand when I'm anxious, who talks about our future with stars in his eyes. The thought of him just playing a role, and all of this being fake, is unbearable. But after days of agonizing and pacing my apartment like some kind of ghost, I realized I couldn't just stand by and do nothing. I had to try and at least see if there was any truth to David's words. Every time I would tell myself that he was maybe just salty and trying to bring our relationship down, I would get this thought in my head. What if he's right? That scared me a lot. I knew I couldn't confront Caspian head-on. I'd already accused him of something awful once last year, and the guilt of that nearly swallowed me whole. I couldn't do that to him again. So I just told him that David had messaged me and asked him what he was talking about. My fiancé barely blinked, but I felt that I saw a small flash of worry. But it could be my imagination. He just laughed and told me, "What did he say?" I told him he congratulated me and told me that he had lied about why he had been fired. I asked him what he was talking about. Caspian started by asking me never to talk to him again. He told me that he had not lied to me, but he had not told me the whole truth. David did disagree with his methods, but that was not why he fired him. He told me that David had been mismanaging money and producing subpar work, and that he simply couldn't keep up with the level of excellence Caspian needed for our Elixir's launch. As much as he wanted David to be on the team, he could not after finding out he had stolen. So David left him no choice but to kick him out. He told me that now David is probably mad and trying to get to him through me. He asked me not to listen to a word David says. I agreed with him and told him I would not speak to David again, and I wanted to believe him. I told myself that David must have just been bitter and hurt, and maybe I'd let my own old fears twist things. But the more I thought about it, the less it did not make any sense. It felt more like an excuse than reality. David has been his number one guy for a long time, and it's not like he hasn't made money. So, what would compel him to steal from his friend? And then David messaged me again from a different account. I hadn't even realized I'd blocked the first one like Caspian asked. His new message was more urgent. When I told him what Caspian said, he told me that he wasn't that surprised he made up a lie like that. He said that the reason he left was simply because he was done controlling people and playing with other lives. He said he couldn't handle everything he had to do, and when he asked Caspian to do the right thing, he kicked him out. At this point, he isn't able to do anything, so he felt that he could at least tell me the truth. He said Caspian had changed, that he'd become obsessed with controlling every detail of his public image, that he spoke about emotional story arcs and algorithm-friendly conflict like they were checkboxes on a spreadsheet. He told me there was a lot he hadn't told me as he wanted me to first take the time to think. David asked to meet just once in public, somewhere I felt safe. He promised not to pressure me, just to talk, to tell me things I deserved to know. After that, he promised to leave it alone, and even though I did not believe him one bit, I said yes. We met at a busy coffee shop the next day. David looked tired, older somehow, but there was something steady in his eyes, something I remembered from all those years when he and Caspian built everything side by side. He didn't waste time. He asked if I remembered last year's fight, the cheating scare, and the awful night I accused Caspian of something I was so sure I'd imagined. I nodded, my throat tightening. He told me it was all staged, that Caspian had engineered the whole thing, that the texts were fake, and the woman was paid too. The message was sent by David himself. Caspian set everything up to create a viral moment and to make him look even better. The perfect moment to show his audience that love could survive anything. He said he fought Caspian on it. He begged him not to do it. But Caspian had already committed emotionally, strategically, and even financially. And when it worked, when the story went viral and their follower count skyrocketed, that was when he stopped listening to anyone. I just sat there frozen. He said that I already know about the fake engagement proposal for the product launch. He said that Caspian is never going to marry me. It is all a show, a part of his plan. He is going to stop it one step before it happens. And he's going to do it publicly and dramatically so that he can walk away with the sympathy of millions. He might even make me a villain if he felt that would make things more interesting. At this point, I stood up and told him, "This is all BS." He said that he even has proof of some of this. I don't think I would have been able to walk if I had seen any proof. I just left, and I have not spoken to David or Caspian since. I feel like my life is ending. The last 2 years cannot be a lie. I don't know what I'm going to do if David is telling the truth. Update 2. It's been a few days, and I have been forced to accept the truth I was running from all this time. David sent me the proof, and I think my entire world just folded in on itself. I'm still shaking. My heart feels like it's been hollowed out and replaced with something that barely works. This perfect storybook life I thought I was living, it wasn't just a lie. It was a campaign. I was always just a tool for promotion. My love has always been a joke to him. So after I refused to accept the truth, David thought about it and decided to send me whatever he had. I opened it and inside was an audio file. My hands were trembling so much that I had to click play twice. The recording was scratchy like it had been made on a phone hidden in a coat pocket or something. But I could hear the voices, Caspian's voice, clear as day, talking very seriously. And there was David too. They were talking about me, about last year's cheating scare I told you about. And the crazy thing is, they were talking about how they were going to pull it off. This was the planning stage. Caspian then told them what exactly happened to me, the fake message and the woman with the live stream. Caspian even coldly predicted how I'd cry and apologize and beg and told everyone that there was no reason for this not to go viral. I also heard David push back by asking if this was too far, but Caspian told him it was not, and said that what he was doing was much more important than me or anyone else. I paused the file halfway through. I just sat there curled up on the edge of my bed staring into nothing. I felt like I was outside my own body, watching someone else's heartbreak unfold. This was pretty much it. This meant that everything David had said was true. It was all a lie. But that wasn't all. David wasn't done. He then gave me access to everything he still could access. Old usernames, login info, a private Instagram, and even Caspian's lock password. He told me to look for myself at what else he does. I stared at the list for a long time. I didn't want to look. I really didn't. But I couldn't get his voice out of my head. That cold, rehearsed tone as he talked about manipulating me for vulnerability arcs. I couldn't unhear it, and I think part of me already knew that my life was too good to be true. But this felt like he had designed a Truman Show type situation for me. But I wasn't even the main focus. I was just the supporting actor who had no idea all of this was a lie. Out of anger, I accessed his cloud drive and I found photos of Caspian with other women in hotel rooms, on work retreats. On days he told me he was flying to New York for brand meetings or spending a weekend at his parents' cottage for mental clarity. Some of them were recent. Others dated back to our first year together. So he was not only playing me, but also constantly cheating on me like it was nothing. Then I saw the chat logs, and that was even more heartbreaking. The only reason Caspian has been keeping me around is that he always wanted a relatable person around him, someone who would always balance other elements in his content. So a normal girl. He wanted to look like a savior who took me, who had nothing from rags to this amazing life. And there was the discussion about the engagement too. He was telling everyone how this move would guarantee the success of the product while pushing them to phase 3, which is breaking the engagement after months of planning the wedding and using sympathy to grow even further. I guess he has used me enough. I cannot tell you how long I cried, but at this point I have had enough. My tears have dried up, and all I have is this anger bubbling in me. I want to destroy him, but I don't know how. I need some advice. Update 3. Hi guys, it's been around a week, and I might have done something to make you really proud of me. So, a few hours ago, I did 2 things that are going to really burn the script Caspian has prepared. And if everything goes to plan, he might not have a career by the end of this arc. Or you could say he is about to start his jobless era. This is what I have done. So, after I made peace with my situation and decided to do something back, I contacted David. I thanked him and asked him if he wanted to help me ruin Caspian. He was more than happy to help. So, for the past week, all we did was collect all the evidence we could from what we had. David compiled everything that he had already collected into a file that could be easily accessed. I also managed to get into Caspian's phone and got some more stuff there, including him discussing, now slowly cutting the expensive ingredients he was using in his drink so that he could earn more money. I then told him that I was going to stay at my friend's place for a while and moved into a rented room. I really didn't want to be around when the bomb was dropped. So, while David did everything I told you above, I made a video explaining my side of the story. I told everyone how I slowly started noticing things were a bit weird and how I got access to all these things and found so much proof. I obviously didn't mention David as I didn't want them involved. When I was making the video, I thought about everything Caspian had taught me about how to keep the viewers engaged and how to tell an emotional story. So, I used his advice to record an incredibly emotional and raw confession of everything I went through because of him. I talked about how it felt to find out my engagement was fake and how much it broke my heart to find out that my fiancé never loved me. I was always only a tool to him, something he could use and use until he was done with it. After I completed the video, David edited it and I uploaded it a few hours ago. I didn't make it public yet as I needed the files in the description to be perfect. That was the real proof that the video was just me telling people what I believe is true. Without the files, it would be impossible to believe me. So, after making sure everything was good, David gave me the go-ahead. And an hour ago, I made the video public. I actually uploaded it to my channel, which has a small number of subscribers, but all of them are fans of Caspian, so it will get them talking, and that is all we want. Currently, Caspian is texting me where I am and has called me a few times. So, it's fair to say that he has probably found out about the video. Now it's time for phase 2. Caspian is going to experience true pain and horror. He is going to experience what betrayal feels like. Because this time, it is my story and my script. I will make sure I destroy everything he has built with my help. Hopefully, everything goes as planned. See you on the other side. Update 4. Hi guys, it's been a month since my last update, and I understand that you cannot wait to learn what happened. Sorry for the delay. Here's everything that happened that day. Just a few hours after my update, the video blew up. Naturally, people checked if I was really telling the truth, and the proof backed me up. More and more fans started talking about this and condemning Caspian for everything he did to me. In minutes, he was losing thousands and thousands of followers. He was obviously himself as he looked for me everywhere, but could not find me. I then took his call and told him I was in a hotel. I think he ran there because he reached it pretty quickly. As soon as I opened the door, he screamed, "What the hell did I do?" and pushed me. I told him I did what I felt was right. I told him he had no right to waste 2 years of my life. He told me that I was nothing in front of him, that he took me as a nobody and gave me this life. That was payment for making me go through a scripted relationship. I told him that for him it was just a script, but I didn't know. I loved him and I believed that he loved me. He just laughed and told me that I watched too many Disney cartoons. There is no Prince Charming. This is real life, and there are people who use and ones who get used. He said, "I know what kind of person I am." His face looked almost unrecognizable. He was showing me how he truly was all the time. His pretend love had vanished. He called me a dumb female dog and told me that I had no idea what kind of losses he was experiencing right now. He asked me to reverse this right now and tell his stupid audience that it was all a lie. While he was saying all this, his phone was buzzing nonstop, but he was not listening to it. When I told him that I was done and there was nothing he could do to stop me from telling everyone the truth, he started seeing red. He told me that he would not only put his hands on me and then sue the living hell out of me, but he would also have me killed if I didn't do this. Yes, he threatened to unalive me if I didn't do what he wanted. He told me that I had no idea the kind of power he has, and his audience will forget, but he will not. He threatened that he would push me into such a corner that I would have to do what he wants. I then turned around and told the camera that had been off streaming everything, that this was the real Caspian, the one that both of them and I were seeing for the first time. At that point, he looked like he had just passed away. He wasn't even blinking his eyes. He looked completely stiff. I told him if he had any message, he could directly give it to his audience. He then tried to think of what he could say to make all this better. When he had no words, he just switched off the camera. He then left, calling his people to help do damage control. But there was no controlling this damage. In the coming weeks, he lost more than half of the followers he had. His public image burned down and his product stopped selling completely. After about a week, he called me begging me to stop this. He promised me money, shares, and anything and everything I wanted. I told him I wanted my 2 years back, the love and care I had wasted on him back. When he couldn't answer, I blocked him. Currently, he is on track to lose everything, back to where he was without me. I guess I was vital to his success, like he always told me. For me, it's a fresh start. I am still pretty hurt, but I am also happy I listened to my gut and managed to see through his lies. I've thanked David countless times, but you guys helped as much as he did. Thank you for your advice and support. It means a lot. Comments. Beatron kid, this was genuinely a roller coaster. I cannot believe everything you went through. I cannot believe he tried to pull off a scripted relationship. What kind of man does that without telling or paying the other person? I knew influencers were fake, but not this fake. Honestly, he deserves it all. He got famous with you, so it's only fair that he becomes a nobody without you. You should be proud of yourself, OP. You did the right thing here.